welcome back. Today we're going on a little field trip. I've got a car that's quite a good ways away from here that I'm going to go look at to be a potential new daily driver for myself. I've been driving the same 2000 Honda Civic now for about 5 years, and my choice car for a daily driver ever since I was 16 years old was a late 90s Honda Civic. Still love that car to death, but it's only a two-door. I've kind of gotten to that point in my life where I would like to have another four-door car, and there's one that has popped up. This car in particular is a 1969 Chevelle. I have been kind of keeping my eyes peeled for a late 60s Chevy car that's a four-door that I can build into a decent daily driver. I have a few things I've been looking for. I particularly wanted to find a car with a perimeter frame. That is what I favor. I just believe that the perimeter frame is a little bit better design for safety and things like that. This car has popped up. I've been kind of looking for an Impala. So I like the 66 and 67, even the 68 model Impala four-door post. I still like hard tops. They're cool, but I prefer a four-door post. I believe you get a little bit more structure in there, and they're a little bit safer as well, just like having a perimeter frame. And I like having something around my windows to help protect the windows. It's just a personal preference is all it is. I've had a few of those cars pop up, the 66, 67 model Impala four-door posts, and the few that have popped up have either been a little bit too rough, or they've all been six-cylinder cars without air conditioning. And I would prefer to have a car with a small block, so a 307 or a 283 or even a 305, something like that. Being this is going to be a daily driver, I'm not looking for horsepower, I'm not looking for speed, I'm looking for something that will get me down the road. I don't need a 400 or a 350. I think that's just overkill for what I'm going to be using the car for, and hopefully will get me a little bit better of a deal. Here in southeast Missouri, it gets a little bit hot in the summers. It's not unusual to hit 100 degrees, and so on days like that, I'm not gonna lie, I like to have the air conditioning. Now, I don't necessarily need the air conditioning to work yet. I can fix that. I just need it to be an original AC car. That way I don't have to do a bunch of work to get air conditioning. So one of the biggest changes in my life is I have a son now, and so it would be nice to be able to drive my car sometimes. My wife's car is four doors and works great, but then we only drive her car whenever we go somewhere, and that's fine. But I'd like to be able to take my car. Also, whenever we have friends over, people come over, and they climb in the back of that little Honda Civic, they always complain that there's not enough space back there, and their heads, hitting the roof. And I'll be honest with you, now that I'm a little bit bigger than I was when I was 16, my head kind of hits the roof too on the car, and I got the seat all the way down, so it's kind of getting a little bit tight around me. And so I'd like to have a car that's a little bit bigger. So I'm loading up some tools just in case the car needs a little bit of work. Person says it runs and drives. We'll find out. Without further ado, we're gonna get on the road, and I will touch base if and when I buy this car. Well, we ended up buying the car. I'll show it here in just a little bit. Right now I need to get someplace other than the place I bought it from. Car's a fairly solid car. It's what you'd expect. It runs great other than when you first try to take off, and then it, has this really bad dead spot. A lot of times it dies, but if you give it all the onions, it just takes right off. So I might want to see if I can't fix that before we head home. I actually have a pretty long weekend ahead of me. I'm spending some time with some family. I think it's going to make it home just fine. We'll see. Well, fast forward quite a bit. Today is Sunday. Time to go home. I ended up leaving the car here in Jacksonville where I purchased the car. Went up farther north to visit some family. I can finally show you guys this car. So there it is. The car is pretty neat. I am pretty happy with it. Four doors are kind of getting harder and harder to come by. You can still find quite a few two doors, but I feel like a lot of the four doors got crushed and put in demo derbies and things like that. They just didn't have the same value as the two doors do, and still don't today. These cars are still significantly less expensive. I'd say for the most part, you know, a third of the price. Not that they're not still higher than what most people would think they should be worth, but to me, they're worth it. You know, they're really solid, good old cars. It's a little bit rusty here and there. It's a fairly solid car. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with it. Probably the worst of the rust I found is pretty typical rust down here at the bottom of the quarter panel. I like the wheels. I'm not usually a huge fan of that wheel, but on this car, it just works. Oh, one thing that's kind of cool about this car is the guy I bought this from said that his family has had it since new. Said it was grandma's car. Grandma passed away years back and he inherited the car. He's done quite a bit to kind of keep up on the car. I think I shouldn't have any problems driving it home. One super neat thing about this car is all these stickers from all the places this family took this car on vacation. They even threw in the hula girl and the hula guy. The guy said that his grandma put those in the car a long time ago. I'm guessing maybe they actually went to Hawaii at some point and bought those, being as they say Hawaii on the bottom. I don't know. It's got some neat vintage Pioneer speakers in the back. I'll show these to you real quick. They're not hooked up to anything because the car doesn't have a radio, but I'm gonna do some research on those and see how old those are. I'm guessing they're at least the 90s, maybe the 80s. But as you can tell, the car has been all reupholstered not too long ago. The guy said probably like 4 years ago or so. And I believe him. You know, it looks pretty good. I really like the choice that they went with. It really does look good. Whoever did it did a really good job. It's funny. I've never been in one of these cars that the door buzzer still works. I don't know if you can hear it. But it's an original AC car, which is a big selling point for me. All the gauges work, which really there's just the speedometer and the fuel gauge, and then the guy did have these gauges put in. One other kind of neat factor is this car still has like the warranty paperwork and everything from the first owner, so that's really cool. Probably shouldn't show you the names on that. And then it's got the delivery and adjustment check sheet still with the car from 1969. It still has the original owner's manual. Neat stuff, really neat stuff. One other neat thing to show you guys in here, you might have already seen them already, but this is the original plate cover that came on this car when it was bought in 1969, and then still has the original plates. The guy said these were the original plates off this car, and they hung on to them all these years. But you could be making that up, but I'd like to believe it's true. No headliner in the car, but the whole car has been gone over with this sort of like a sound deadener, but it's also for heat. But it's coming up in a few spots, so I might want to do something about that. One other thing I'll show you all before I head out, because it's getting later and I kind of want to get out of here, is under the hood. I can show you guys what we have going on. So this was originally a 307 car, and it was listed as a 307 car as well, but as you can see, this has got a later model small block in it, which I'm not upset about. This is fine. I haven't ran the numbers on it yet, so I don't know if this has a 350 or a 305. It does have an Edelbrock intake on it, which is nice. It does seem to have some halfway decent headers on it that are made for the car, so they fit good. A little bit of bashing right there, but not a big deal. I don't have any accelerator pump, so the car's been sitting for, 3 days. No accelerator pump, no fuel in the carburetor. Belt squeaks real bad. Probably want to fix that.
camera, but it took a good long time to get this thing started. I might go ahead and see if I can tighten up that belt real fast. I hate working on cars right in the middle of the town, but I guess I don't really care all that much. I guess I'll see which belt's loose. Alright, so update. I didn't check this car out as good as I should have. So I took the car for a short test drive, but I couldn't go real far in it. Anyways, a couple things I didn't check and I really should have. So number one, not a big deal, but we're about a quart low on oil. Oil looks pretty bad too. It's been obviously a while since its last change. So I'm just gonna top it off. I think it can get me home. The other thing, we are pretty low on transmission fluid. Car left a very small puddle over the past 3 days on the ground of transmission fluid. Not a great big puddle, but we're low. The alternator is growling pretty badly, so it might not make it. I mean, it's charging, which is good, but I don't know if the bearing's gonna make it. It might not. We're gonna get it as close to home, I guess, as I can, and we'll just see. I gotta go pee, and I'm gonna go ahead and I guess run down to grab some food. I'm gonna stop by. Oh no, I just realized something. It's Sunday. None of the parts stores are gonna be open, I don't think. I guess what I'll do is drive on over to get some food and then go pee, and I'll see if I can't find some place to get some transmission fluid. Okay, just contacted the local O'Reilly's and they are open today. Being Easter, I was kind of worried they might not be, so I'm going to shoot on down there. Luckily, it's just right down the road. Pick up a few things. I need some transmission fluid, I need some oil, and I'd like to get some sort of oil to put on the alternator to help that bearing live. I'm not going to really be able to get the oil in there, but I figure it's worth trying. Maybe it'll help quiet it down. It's kind of getting to the point now I'm thinking it might be squeaking. So, we'll see. Well, here I am at the O'Reilly's. Picked up some transmission fluid, some oil, a funnel, and some red grease for the alternator. Topped off the oil. Let's do the transmission fluid. I'm going to shoot just a little bit of that red grease in the bearing. Hopefully that will quiet it down and maybe make it live long enough to get me home. Well, I sprayed the grease in the alternator. Didn't really quiet it down none. So I guess we're just gonna have to risk it. We'll see what happens. I would buy an alternator, but that'd be too easy. So I guess we'll get as far as we can and see if that noise gets any louder. Maybe it'll make it. About 3 hours or so left on the trip. Car's peppy, being this thing's got what the guy said was 373s in it for the rear gears. I'd say he's right. Anyway, it's gonna be a little bit rough. The bearing noise seems to have quieted for the alternator. I don't think it's gonna last forever. Now that I'm actually able to drive this car at speed, we got a bit of a driveline vibration. It's not extreme. When I let off the gas, it's gone. I'm on the gas, it's there. Probably got a U-joint that's loose. Hopefully it's not so loose it's gonna come apart on me. It's not squeaking. So, car's a little bit loosey-goosey. Car's a little sketchy. It's a little sketchy. The fella wouldn't let us go very far in it because he said the car didn't have insurance. But now I'm thinking he was probably just covering up the fact that it had different problems he didn't want me to find out about. So I don't feel bad about lowballing him now. Still a good car. stop to grab some gas real quick. Let me get in the car because it's kind of windy out here. So, we were actually doing the speed limit, pretty much that whole jog. So most of that was 70 mile an hour. Speedometer's off by quite a bit on this car. So we ended up getting roughly about 10 miles to the gallon or so. I think that the filler neck on the car, or not filler neck, but the cap on the car isn't sealing up great in the way this tank's designed. It could be losing a little bit of gas from sloshing. I can kind of smell some fuel too anytime there's a lot of movement, so that might be also not helping the cause. With no overdrive and 373s, and it's got like a 28-inch tall tire on it, you're probably just, you shouldn't expect great gas mileage. 10's not terrible, but I'd like to see more like 15 or 17 on the highway, which is definitely achievable if you know what you're doing. So, I don't know, we'll see. The car needs a little bit more than I'd probably like to put into it, but I don't know, kind of one of them things. Got a perfectly good daily driver at home. I'm not sure why I'm trying to replace it. We're just outside of St. Louis, so we're a little bit past the halfway mark. Still got a good little ways to go yet though. So I'm gonna get back on it, try and get home before the sun goes down. And after that, we'll get to dig into it a little bit more. I decided to stop. Now that we've gone over 100 miles or so, I'd like to go ahead and check the transmission fluid again real fast, check the oil real fast, and see if it's really gone down any at all, if we're pretty much at the same point. That, and I kind of forgot my wife at the last gas station, so I'd probably better call her before my phone dies. Make sure everything's okay. Oh, there she is now. Did pretty good. There was no noticeable amounts of oil consumption or transmission fluid consumption or power steering fluid consumption. They're all still good and full. We'll be back on the road. It's probably going to be dark by the time we get back. Well, we made it back. It is no longer the same day. We came rolling in pretty late. And, well, to be honest with you, I was ready to go to bed. So, if you guys like watching stuff like this, please let me know, because I enjoyed doing it. Stay tuned if you want to find out what I end up doing with this thing. That's going to do it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.